Getting poked in the eye might sound like a clumsy accident or the punchline of a slapstick comedy, but in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to cause serious, sometimes permanent damage. And here's the twist: it's not because the eye is weak. It's because the eye is far too intricate for its own good. You're about to discover why a single finger can unleash 3 terrifying levels of destruction, from harmless reflex tears, all the way to the eye bursting like a balloon filled with jelly under pressure. First, let's get one thing clear. Your eyes are not made of glass marbles, and they're definitely not like hard-boiled eggs. They're closer to transparent water balloons, filled with delicate layers, pressurized fluids, and nerve endings that are so sensitive, even a tiny scratch feels unbearable. On the outer shell, you've got the sclera, cornea, iris, and lens. On the inside, the aqueous humor and vitreous body keep the structure stable, while the retina and the optic nerve at the back act like high-speed cables, transmitting information directly to your brain. So when a finger drives into the eye, it's not meeting something solid, it's pressing into a fragile, living bubble. And once that bubble bursts, there is no natural way for the body to repair it. With that chilling thought, let's begin with level 1, the surface strike. Here, the finger only grazes the outermost layer. No catastrophic damage yet, but your body doesn't wait to find out. The defense system triggers instantly. The first response? The corneal reflex. In less than 100 milliseconds, faster than a blink of conscious thought, your eyelids slam shut. It's your body's equivalent of a car airbag deploying. At the same time, your lacrimal glands flood your eye with tears, like a built-in sprinkler system trying to wash away the threat. The sensation is brutal. It feels like having a burning stone lodged in your eye. That sharp sting comes from the cornea, which is one of the most sensitive tissues in your entire body. It has more nerve endings per square millimeter than your skin, yet it contains no blood vessels at all. That's why the pain feels raw and pure, with no buffer. The usual injury at this stage is a corneal abrasion, a tiny scratch on the surface. It might not sound like much, but try blinking or stepping into sunlight, and suddenly it feels like torture. Even thinking about opening your eyes is painful. Fortunately, most corneal abrasions heal within a few days with artificial tears, antibiotic drops, and patience. But if you rub your eye again or expose it to more trauma, then you're in for days of fiery discomfort, as if your eye is punishing you for daring to touch it again. Now let's move up to level 2, moderate trauma. This is when the finger doesn't just brush the surface, it presses deeper, forcing the structures inside to shift. Imagine someone pushing on a water balloon with their thumb. The pressure doesn't stay at the surface, it ripples through the entire sac. The iris is displaced, the lens is compressed, and the vitreous body, the transparent gel that keeps the eye round, absorbs the shock. The sensation is overwhelming. Your pupils may suddenly dilate. Some people feel dizzy, nauseous, or even faint on the spot. That's because the trigeminal nerve, one of the main pain highways in your head, sends such intense signals that your body decides the best reaction is to temporarily shut down, like hitting the emergency off switch. The damage here can take several ugly forms. First, a hyphema, that's when a tiny blood vessel ruptures, and blood fills the front chamber of the eye. Instead of seeing clearly, your vision is tinted red, like looking through smoke. Then there's traumatic uveitis, an inflammation deep inside the eye that doesn't just sound scary, it hurts far worse than it sounds. Finally, the lens itself might shift out of place. The lens is what focuses light so you can see clearly, but when it gets knocked around, your vision suddenly turns blurry, wavy, and distorted, almost like trying to see underwater. In the best cases, this can be corrected. But here's the dangerous part: if the internal pressure of the eye changes too much, you risk developing traumatic glaucoma. That's not just a painful condition, it's a silent countdown to irreversible blindness. And once that countdown reaches 0, there's no turning back. And now the nightmare scenario, level 3. Extreme destruction. At this stage, the finger isn't poking anymore, it's destroying. The cornea, iris, and lens are all compromised, and the finger drives straight toward the back of the eye. Here, the eyeball is no longer a functioning organ. It's a ruptured jelly sac. One possible outcome is globe rupture. This means the eyeball literally splits open. Picture squeezing a grape until it bursts and spills out its insides. That's what happens, except the grape is your eye, and what leaks out is the vitreous fluid you need to see. Another devastating consequence is retinal detachment. The retina, the thin, delicate layer that translates light into vision, peels away from the back of the eye. Once it detaches, it loses oxygen and nutrients instantly. Within minutes, those cells start to die, and once they're gone, there's no regeneration. The terrifying part? Retinal detachment often doesn't hurt. Instead, you just notice flashes, floating shadows, or total darkness creeping in. And if the finger reaches the very back, it can damage the optic nerve itself, the highway carrying visual information to your brain.
That's game over. The connection is cut. No pain. No warning.
Just permanent blackout.
Can such damage be fixed? Sometimes.
Surgeons can attempt to reconstruct the eyeball with complex procedures. But even if the structure is saved, functional vision almost never comes back. And in the worst cases, when the damage is beyond repair, doctors have no choice but to remove the eye's contents entirely and replace them with a prosthetic. So, what should you actually do if someone pokes you in the eye?
The first rule: do not rub it.
Rubbing is the worst thing you can do. It only spreads the damage further. The second rule: don't play doctor with household remedies. No random eye drops, no ointments, no petroleum jelly, no miracle healing solutions. The smartest and safest move is to cover the injured eye with something clean and soft, like sterile gauze or a fresh cloth, without applying pressure. Then go straight to an eye specialist. Not the next day. Not when it's convenient. Immediately. Even what seems like a minor scratch can spiral into infection or abnormal pressure changes inside the eye. And conditions like retinal detachment are sneaky. They don't cause pain, but they will rob you of your vision forever if not treated in time. Remember, your eyes are not just cameras. They're living extensions of your brain. They don't just capture the world, they interpret it, they recognize faces, they hold memories, they allow you to connect emotionally. A single misplaced finger doesn't just threaten your sight. It can erase your connection to everything around you. So treat your eyes as if they're the most fragile glass you've ever owned. Because in truth, that's exactly what they are. Goodbye.